Hey folks, Dave here. Um, Hope everybody's having a good day today. So I make a lot of things with my laser, and some are not as pretty as others. So I take those and I give them to my wife, and she sets them around the house for a while to keep from hurting my feelings, and then they just disappear, and I don't ask questions. So today I thought we'd try to make her a Thanksgiving napkin holder that that turns out pretty good. So we're going to start with some free vectors, a side view of a turkey, and I'll put a link down in the description where to get this. It is 100% free. So, and when somebody tells you that something is 100% free, by all means do your own research and make sure it is before you use it. So remember, you can use your mouse wheel to scroll in and out. You can push down on it and move the entire canvas around. So the first thing we're going to do is cut this turkey's feet off. So you can grab a circle and just drag it out like so, just an oblong looking shape. And we just want to get it up here, get the legs off, because we're going to square the bottom off. And then we'll put a tab on it. So we need to subtract the feet from the turkey. So you want to select the item you're subtracting from, shift, and then select your circle or square or whatever shape you're using to subtract that. Then go over to the left and click subtract, and the feet are gone. Now something else we can do is select what's left of the turkey, ungroup, and then you see this little chunk right here of whatever that is, I guess a part of his neck, and you can get that out of the way. Just delete it, and then it's all one piece. So the overall piece should be somewhere around 6 inches high, I guess, because that's about the size of a standard napkin. So we will start out. Now you can switch right here between inches and millimeters. And I'm just going to leave it on inches until we get down to making tabs and slots to make sure that matches the wood, because we're using a 5mm Luan hardwood plywood. You can pick that up at your local big box hardware store. It's not very expensive. I think a 2x4 foot sheet is somewhere around $12. Cut that up into squares and you get sturdy material to work with. Okay, so we'll just start out by making this about 5 inches in height. So leave the lock on up top. That way the turkey will remain proportionate. You don't want it to be 5 both ways. So let's just do the height 5 inches. And then the turkey will straighten itself out as long as you have that lock on. Okay, so let's grab another square, and we're not going to weld it to the turkey until we get the tab on. So just drag something out about like that, let it go, click your selection tool, and I believe this will work. Whatever you want to drag out will work. We'll make it a little thicker just to get past that right there. But you don't want to attach it until we get the tab on it. So now here's where we switch this back to millimeters. Grab a box. And the reason you want to do that is so you can center the tab on this piece If you wait until if you attach it first, the part that's squaring the bottom off, then it'll judge the center based upon the entire turkey here, and we just want this piece to be seen. Okay, so we're using 5mm wood. So we're going to make the height 5mm, and then the width, we can make it around 30 or so, 30mm. I had something written down somewhere. I forget what it was. So either way, that should work. All right, so now if you want more stability, then you can make it longer, but you got to hope that the people sitting around eating won't be grabbing your napkin holder and slinging it around. But if they do, you can keep this template, and then you can just make you another one. All right, so get in close on here, and with our tab, notice that the mouse cursor will change. So you can grab, I forgot to click. These are the mistakes I make, folks. I forgot to click the selection tool after I finished the tab. And let's make sure I didn't change it. I did change it. So I need to make it back to 5. And I have to unlock the lock to keep this at 30. There. It's important to remember when to have the lock on and lock off. If you want everything to change proportionately, leave the lock on. If you just want to change one side, not the other, take it off. Okay, so we'll select it. Then we will go back in, get close to the edge, and then pull it up to this square, and it will lock itself to it. Then you can select the larger square, click vertical align, and it'll move that to the center. Now you can select both again, and then go over to weld, and click weld, and now we have one piece. So once we get this one made, then we can just duplicate it for the other side. And of course, we'll have to invert it so we're looking at the turkey in the same way. So now we're just going to pull this up to where it passes all of the cut lines there. Then we're going to make sure our overall height doesn't exceed 6 inches. You have to change this back to inches, and we're good. Then select one, then select the other, and then go over and select weld. And there we go. We have that one. And before, well, see, the writing will be on opposite sides of this. So now is the time we need to duplicate this and have them facing each other. Then we can do the writing. A lot of times you can do the writing or the vectors that you're using first, and then just duplicate away using an array or individually. But in this case, we have to take this one on the right, go up to arrange, and flip horizontal. Now they're facing each other. So we will, I think we will get horn of plenty. So this is another free vector, and we will, I'll put the links down in the description. So to resize, be sure to go to the corner and resize. And then we will have to flip one around once we get it sized properly. is put this up in the center somewhere, and then we'll write Happy Thanksgiving on it. Okay, just always go to the corner when you want to resize proportionately. And in most instances, you can select this item, then you can select the other item, then you can hit the bullseye to get it in the center. But this turkey is so odd shaped that, you know, if you're good with that, you're good. But if you want to, just move it around, put it where you want it. Okay, so this will be a score. And I've got different settings for different scores, and yeah, see, the red is a little different from the green, and you'll have to work through your palettes to figure out some of the layers that you want to set, and then you can rename those as you go. Okay, so we got that. The other thing is, when you do a score, you always want to move it up above the cut. You don't want to cut something first and then try to score on it, because it makes a mess. I've done it. It's not pretty. All right, so now we're going to grab a copy of this horn. We're just going to duplicate, bring it over, and then we're going to go to Arrange and flip horizontal. And then we can try to do a center on this, see if it comes out in the same place. There we go. Okay, so now we just need to write Happy Thanksgiving. So grab your text tool, and if you use Academy Engraved, it'll give you a, you can score, and it looks close to an engrave, and it'll save you some burn time to do that. I'm just guessing on the height. We'll see how that works out. We do all caps. If I can spell. Don't forget to hit your selector tool and bring that over. And I think we will do this in, we should probably do this in 2 separate words. So do happy, hit the selector tool, duplicate, bring it down, double click inside, get rid of these letters. And redo Thanksgiving. Okay, and you can bend these if you like. I mean, you've got this little blue dot here that will let you grab and bend the letters if you want to. I think in this case I'll just leave them straight, and Control Z will get me back there. These are not going to center up quite right, so just eyeball it and get it on this fruit horn, or horn of plenty. Let's try to center and see how it works. So if you click your first set of text, shift, click the second set of text, that's the only thing it'll grab. It doesn't grab the horn in the middle. And then let's hit the bullseye and see what happens. And that did not work. So we're going to hit Control Z, and probably what it wanted me to do was to group those, so you can group those while they're selected. Then shift, select our bird, and then hit center. And that would be center. I guess that don't look too bad. Let's try it over here and see what it looks like. So now we can duplicate the Happy Thanksgiving, bring it over here. I don't think it's going to work on this side, but we'll find out. All right. right, so select the lettering, select the bird, click center, and that don't look quite right to me, so we will shift it a little bit. We will ungroup. Then we'll just grab the happy and pull it over a little bit. And I think we're probably okay. We will go with that. Okay, so we need to make a bottom for this. And the width is entirely up to you. I think it just depends on how many napkins you're going to stick in there. So just grab a square and drag that out. And of course, that'll be a cut. So set that for your cut. And I'm using a 40-watt laser. So your laser may or may not be different. I'm going to set this for a speed of 5 and a power of 50. That should be plenty. We'll make this, let me get this in closer. We will make this about 3 inches on the height. Let's just switch that back to inches. We're pretty close already. So make that about 3 inches. And then we'll just make it, let's just make it 5 inches in the center for out, because we're going to add the tabs here. So first thing we want to do is make your offset. So grab another square and just draw something out. This is just going to be a tool. Go down to the bottom to tool, select that, make it a tool, and then hit your selection right there. So you want to make this as wide as you would want to offset it from the outer edge. So we'll just make this about, I'm going to switch back to millimeters. My brain switches back and forth all day. We'll make the width about 4 millimeters. The length doesn't matter. And then you can grab this, and we want to get in, and you want to get it up against there, if I can do it right there. And you can center it, of course, but it doesn't really matter. You can leave it selected, shift, select your entire square, and then go to horizontal alignment, and it'll move it. Now we need that. Oh, you see me struggling with that. So here's the deal with the way you grab something. If you come from the left, you get a red line. And you have to grab the entire thing for it to select. If you come from the right, all you got to do is touch it, and you get a green line. And typically that's the best way to go, but sometimes you may have something that's really close to something else. Well, this works right here. So this is up against the square, and if I come from the right, I'm going to get the square and the offset. If I come from the left, I only want the square. That's all it's going to get, because I didn't select the entire square. So it's useful. Both of them are useful. So just know that. It gets real handy if you're working with something that has a bunch of little pieces in it, and you just need to grab 1 or 2 out. Then from the left with the red is the way to go. All right, we're doing the same thing. Then we're going to shift, select the square. We're going to go up top and do horizontal alignment. Okay, so now we're going to make our slots. Now down here, We made this 30 millimeters, so we need to do that, maybe a little more, maybe 32, 33. But on the width, this wood is 5 millimeters. So to adjust for kerf, we'll make the slot something like 4.8. That way it'll fit tighter. Probably end up using glue anyway for, since it's something that's going to be used on the table and you don't want it knocking over easy. But if you determine the kerf of your laser, and that's the amount of material that gets removed above and beyond what you've specified. So if you tell it 5 millimeters, in my case, it's going to remove 5.2, 5.3 in some cases, depending on the material. So if you get used to yours, then you can make those kerf adjustments more easily. Okay, so grab another square. Just come over here and just drag it out to where you want it. You know it's going to be a cut. Go ahead and make it a cut. And then we want to make, in this case, the height, even though we're going to flip it and put it this way. For now, it's the height, not the width. We're going to make that 4.8 millimeters. All right. And then for the width here, we're going to make it, since we're 30 down here, we'll just make this 30. Let's make this 33. Give us a little wiggle room. You could, 30 would probably work. In most cases it would, but we'll just do this and see how it works out. Okay, so you want to select that, and then you want to go up to arrange. You want to rotate it 90 degrees. Right click and duplicate. Now you got 2 of them, and we will use that tool to set our offset. So select one of them, get close to that line, let your cursor change, and then pop it right up against that tool. Then you can select the outer square, don't select the tool, and then do not that. Don't do that. Click Control Z and then click horizontal alignment. I make a lot of mistakes, folks. If you don't, tell me how you avoid them. All right, do the same thing on the other side. Shift, select. Somebody wants me to do something else. That's why my phone keeps going off. And then click horizontal again. And even when you get used to this, you'll still click the wrong one. It happens. Okay, so now we don't want these to move, so we're going to tie them together. So you can come from the right, and then you can just touch your slots. We did not touch the tool. And then you can group them together, and you're good to go. And now you can get rid of the tool. You can leave it there. Really doesn't matter because there's no output. That's the thing about using tools. And you've got 2 of them down here, T1, T2. And you can set them up. You could put it anywhere and call it a tool on any of the palettes, and just make sure you uncheck output before you send to the laser. And you won't always remember to do it. I don't remember. So folks, I think we're about ready to cut this out. So let me get set up in the laser, and we will cut this out and see how it looks. If it don't look good, I don't want to give my wife another reject, so we'll do it again. All right, folks, I'll be right back in a few minutes. All right, I believe we're ready. Let me do a quick frame and we will get this thing cut out. All right, so far so good. Let me get this put together and we'll take a look at it. Okay, so we're not quite done. This is too wide, so we're going to go back in and fix that. And the kerf adjustment I made is not tight enough. It still doesn't fit real tight, so I'm going to fix this bottom piece. We'll jump back in Lightburn and see what it takes to do that, and then we will cut the bottom piece again, take another look at it. Okay, so we're back in Lightburn, and we need to adjust the width of this base as well as the slots. And I made a couple of test slot cuts with this 5mm hardwood. Apparently my kerf is different than what I'm used to. So the first thing we're going to do is ungroup everything and make sure it's ungrouped. It's not, so we'll do it again. Just make sure everything is ungrouped. Okay, so then we're going to take our square, and the base is 5 inches, so we'll just make it 2.5. So 2.5 inches. Be less napkins. I wouldn't want to have that many napkins that we had there. So we should be able to maybe grab this like so. You can just pull this out of the way, grab this one and make sure it is right up against the edge, like so. And then we'll resize this to, we've got to go back to millimeters. So we want this width to be 4.3. And that should take care of the kerf and allow it to fit. We'll go down to 30 for this. I did try this at 29 and 28, and it should have fit good at that, but apparently the kerf on this edge, maybe it's the shorter distance, is doesn't really play that much. Just a little bit off, but 29 is too tight. So we will go with 4.3 by 30. And we'll just get rid of this one and then duplicate the one we've already set. Duplicate here, and then we will get our offset right. I don't want to bore you folks, but I didn't want you thinking it worked perfectly when it did not. And sometimes it's good to watch other people mess up so you don't have to. So just pull that in, select it, and shift, select the square, and then do the horizontal alignment, and that'll center it. You do the same thing over here. Then select the square, horizontal alignment again, and that's fine. We just didn't center our tools. That's why it looks a little weird, but that's right. That should work. And now we can group everything back. And you can leave everything. I'm going to save this so my file is saved. And you can leave this and select it to cut with Lightburn. Just because this is there, it won't cut unless you select it. Unlike some other softwares, if you hit go, it's taking everything. So we're just going to select this and recut it, and then we'll take another look at it. Okay, folks, I will be right back after that. Okay, well here is the finished adjusted product. It turned out pretty good. The slots are better. So you can test your slots and tabs on some scrap wood to get them just right. And like I said, the kerf adjustment's different between different materials. You could paint this. You could put some, maybe some mineral oil on it to bring out the lettering and the vectors. But overall, I think we accomplished what we set out to do. This is a Thanksgiving napkin holder. So I hope y'all enjoyed watching and hope you learned something. I enjoyed doing it like most things I do with my laser. So y'all just take care, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.